Hi, and welcome back to my kitchen. Today we're going to make a squash dressing recipe. Now I'm from the north. I'm not used to having dressing. What we had up there was stuffing, and it was bread. And that's what I grew up eating, and I loved it. And when I moved down here, I never really cared for cornbread dressing until I tried this. One of my friends gave me this recipe, so I've made it a couple of times already. I just love it. So I'm going to get everything all mixed. First, the oven is preheating to 350 degrees, and I made a pan of cornbread and let it cool. I just made it. You don't have to wait till it's a day or two old. So you're going to put 4 cups of crumbled cornbread in this bowl. And it's supposed to be 3 cups of squash, but I like squash, so I've got 4 cups in here. And you just pour it in. And I'm going to get this mixed in, hopefully. Squash is still hot. I've been letting it cool for a while, but it's not as cool as I thought it was going to be. Anyway, I'm just going to mix this in. Chop it up a little bit. It calls for an onion. I just cooked the onion with the squash when I did it on top of the stove. And you know, squash doesn't take very much water. You just put a tiny bit of water. And then I put a whole onion in there and let it cook till it got soft. Then I drained it, and this was fresh squash. So anyway, it goes in. It's going to make quite a bit here. After this, I'm going to use my hands. I have tried cornbread dressing every way you could think of, and I just did not like it. And my friend, told me to try this. She said, let me give you the recipe, try it. I think it's delicious. And believe it or not, I liked it. So anyway, here we are with the squash. I'm going to squash it up a little bit here. All right. Now into this is going to go 3 eggs, and I already beat them up because I don't want to have to worry whether or not I got the eggs mixed up good. So I got the 3 eggs and a 10-ounce can of cream of chicken soup. Come on out. I hesitate to use my spatula because I have used my spatula a couple of times to get stuff out of cans, and it tore them up. I had to throw them away because I kept finding pieces of my spatula in the food I was mixing. At first I didn't know what it was, and then I realized, well, the spatulas that I had used that had broken the sides of it, you know, split them up and all from coming in and out of the can. That's what it was. So, in any case, we're getting that mixed. Now I'm going to wash my hands because I have to put some poultry seasoning in there. And I don't want to touch my jar with my hands like this. I'll be back in just a second. Alright, now you can use a half a teaspoon of sage and a teaspoon of poultry seasoning. But I'm going to use just straight poultry seasoning, so I've got to go to like a teaspoon and a half. But I'm going to put 2 teaspoons in here. I think. Yeah, there we go. Just empty that out in there. Alright. I'm going to start off with the spoon because I don't want the poultry seasoning on my hands. It won't come off. And I want it in this dressing. Anyway, I've even made dressing for my kids because, you know, they grew up in the South and had other people's cornbread dressing and they loved it. Well, mine didn't turn out. Tried making it for me. It didn't turn out good, I'm telling you. Until I tried this. So maybe this year at Thanksgiving, because it's always at my house and so is Christmas, I will make this and surprise them. The only one that still likes my stuffing, or prefers my stuffing I should say, is my son. And I make a special batch for him so he can take it home. He's the only one that's not local. Alright. Hopefully I got that mixed well. Now, it's just going into a 9x13 pan. I have sprayed the pan because if it sticks, you know, it's just hard to clean. But I have a tip for you about that. If you get burned food on your pan, let's see, run hot water in it when you empty it, and then shake in some baking soda. And let it sit, and then when you go back to clean it, and then, you know, wait an hour or so. Sometimes I wait overnight, but it'll come off so easily. So there's no need to buy all those products that they're trying to sell you to soften your burned on food, because you can do it with baking soda. Alright, let me put this in the sink. Now I'm going to read what goes in here to you, just in case I was confusing to you. It's 4 cups of crumbled cornbread. This says 2 cups of stewed squash, but I used almost 4. 10-ounce can of cream of chicken soup, 1 chopped onion, which I put in the squash, a teaspoon of poultry seasoning or a half a teaspoon of sage, and half a teaspoon to a teaspoon of poultry seasoning. But I used all poultry. Now here it is. I'm just going to put this in the oven and I'll bring you back when it's done. Hi, we're back. The dressing's out of the oven. It took about 45 minutes. It said 40 to 45 minutes, but you can see that it's nice and brown around the edges. And I'm going to take a nice little bite out of this. Let's zoom in so you can see this dressing. Can you see how moist it is? Oh my gosh, and that squash floating through it. It looks wonderful. Let's try a little bite. If you have any questions, leave it in the comments, and please like and subscribe to me. Let's see what this tastes like. I'm telling you, for somebody who doesn't like cornbread dressing, this is wonderful. It's summertime. You ought to have plenty of squash. You've got to give this a try. You'll love it. Thank you for spending part of your day with me. Until next time, you take care.